Alrighty, ho! We are live on this beautiful Monday morning. God bless everybody in the name of Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah. I pray you are all very blessed. And we have to give a major shout out to Dave Flowers in the house. Dave Flowers, his wife has been making homemade pumpernickel bread. And it's so good, especially toasted with real butter. If you're not eating pumpernickel bread, then you have no right to be eating any gluten at all, because gluten's evil. But if we can mix our gluten with a little bit of pump, then man, wow, we are in good company, because is the Bitcoin price about to pump your nickel to a new all-time high? We're going to be talking about it today, guys. Some serious business. So make sure to like the stream, make sure to subscribe to the channel, make sure to click the bell for notifications, because we're going to be giving it to you today. We're not going to give it to you any other way than the real deal. All right, this is the real deal analysis right here. Now, real quick, what is Bitcoin doing here? Yesterday, you guys were in the stream, the Sunday stream, when we reclaimed this level. Then we said we're going to go up to this box. This box, very important. If we reject from the box, especially if we're losing yellow line, oh no! As it says right here, crap. All right, crap! Oh no, why? Because we're rejecting from resistance and now losing support. All right, we're going to be talking about exactly what I'm looking for here as we move into the second week of July. And I did ask a question in the stream. Do we still have a hope for a bullish summer? 71% say yes. I still have to say that I agree with you. All right, I agree with you. Now, we got to give some major shout outs here. First of all, shout out to WEEX, literally offering the best deal in the world. They give you $100 just to sign up. The lowest fees, like on a centralized exchange, 20% deposit bonus. It almost seems too good to be true, but it's legit. All right. We also got to give a shout out to BLOFIN. BLOFIN currently offering 20% cash back. Low fees, not as low as WEEX, but still low, and a chance to win all these juicy prizes. And we have to give a shout out to Klein Funding, guys. Klein Funding is a crypto prop firm that runs on Bitget. And this is a great opportunity if you know how to trade, but you don't have capital, because you can get a $200,000 funded account for $500. And if you use the code in the description of this video, you get 25% off. All right. Also, you can get an instant pro account without having to pass a challenge to trade. You can get a $50,000 account with a 70% profit reward split for only $1,200. Of course, there's a 15% discount if you use the link in my description. You do need a Bitget account, but you do not need to KYC on that account. You can use a VPN in order to hook your Bitget account up to this platform. All right. So even if you're in the US and you can't KYC on Bitget, you can still trade using Klein Funding crypto prop firm, which runs on Bitget. All right, link in the description and the coupon codes in the description. Also, we got to give a shout out to ANTARCTIC Decentralized Exchange. If you sign up using my link, you get literally the lowest fees, period. And this is going to change trading forever. No more centralized exchanges having to worry about KYC and frozen accounts and all this. This is made by traders for traders. Make sure to check it out. And also, of course, the Jason Casper VIP Discord. Link in the description, where we give our juicy trade setups in advance, like the long from 100K, like the long from 105K, and like the short trade that we gave from the all-time high. Wow, would you look at that? Let's see who we got in the house today. Major shout out to Crypto Coons. God bless you, my bro. Shout out to Burriti. He says, bless you, bro. God bless you. Shout out to Caney Rich. What do you eat in the morning? I don't eat anything in the morning, bro. And you shouldn't do that in the morning, all right? If you do that in the morning, your whole day's ruined, bro. You cannot do anything. Look, if you want to be successful in anything in life, the worst thing you can do in the morning is release a whole bunch of dopamine, all right? Then your body thinks, yeah, I did what I need to do for the day. Time to go to sleep and be unproductive. All right, say that. Honestly, you shouldn't even be touching yourself that way, bro. Come on, grow up. All right, grow up. All right, bro. Come on. Shouldn't be touching yourself that way. Come on now. What are you, 12? Shout out to Shirley Fortress. Loads the pump. Hit the likes. Shout out to JB Estrada. The day the pump song worked. Yeah, that was yesterday. Major shout out to Nick Flip. Shout out to HFG. God bless you, my bro. God bless you. Shout out to Charlotte Lane Lee. Shout out to Farman Hamza. God bless you. Shout out to Abhine Varma. And shout out to Lightbot and Toby W. God bless you, Toby W. Shout out to Investment Time. Who else we got in the chat? Shout out to Maurice Rude Zitis. Jay, why did you previously predict the danger zones of potential retracement right to the value area high? Why not, for example, the fib gold pocket under 107.2? There's also some confluence. I forget, man. Oh, I don't know, man. I'm sorry. There's too many numbers, bro. There's too many numbers. Who else we got in the house? Shout out to Cisco Kid. And, shout out to the Casper crew. Shout out to Bill Young. Shout out to Last in Can. Shout out to Crypto Incognito. Bro Telegram channel. I have no Telegram channel, alright? Anyone who thinks I do, it's fake, alright? Why does he have a bulletproof vest on? Look, you gotta keep things real. When things get real, you gotta keep it real. Alright? When things get real, you gotta keep it real. Let's smash up the likes. We got 700 people in the house, 130 likes. Guys, we still have 15 minutes to get 1,000 likes and we can do a $1,000 giveaway. Alright, so, let's pop on over to the chart. Let's talk about what's happened here. So, first of all, understand the context here is that we have just confirmed a weekly green dot. Now, I know you guys can't see the chart yet, but this right here, this level that we came to, around $110,000, where we rejected from, let us not forget that this is the most important resistance of the summer. Alright, this is the target of the long trade that we gave from 105 to 110,250 to 110,700. The trade setup given in the Casper crew, the long trade taken and the profits locked in, hit our TP1 at the white box of warning. But now we have rejected from this white box. We've made a low. We've come and we made a lower high from the local Fibonacci Golden Pocket retracement. And we're coming back down to the $108,000 level, which is the value area high of the last 8 months of price action. So, long story short, there's only two things you really need to know. Thing number one, this is probably the most important resistance we have for the summer. This level right here, 108.5, if we do not hold above this level, downside is more probable. Okay, downside is more probable. So let's pop on over to the chart and let's get the context on some top-down analysis. Alright, Hopium Copium says short the market today. Jason is definitely going to dump. Alright. There's only 6 people watching and I want 100 likes. No, there's 7,000 people watching and I want 1,000 likes. Alright, so let's start on our weekly time frame. Okay, we have just confirmed the weekly green dot on market Cipher B. Money flow getting higher. This is not a bearish sign. This is a bullish sign. In my opinion, this does keep the door open for more upside in the summer and it invalidates the bearish divergence that we printed in the middle of June. Alright, so this is the context of our weekly time frame. Then we go down to our 4-day time frame. Same deal, confirmed the green dot. We go to our 2-day. On the 2-day time frame, what we see here is, in my opinion, something that is extremely bullish looking. Now, I know it's a summer and we usually don't pump in the summer, but when you come down to the bull market trend line and you have a big, juicy momentum wave on the left, a skinny one on the right, also known as the uneven butt cheek pattern, where you have a big old, huge, massive left, juicy butt cheek, definitely doing a whole bunch of hip thrusts, one-legged, of course, glute bridges on the left side only. And then you have a skinny butt cheek on the right-hand side, like that skinny old waitress at the diner, bringing out your coffee, but she's spilling it all over the place because she can't walk straight when she's got the dang uneven glutes. By the way, shout out to Market Cipher. Alright, best dang indicator on TradingView. That's called a bullish divergence at the bull market support. And now we have confirmed a trigger wave, a continuation pattern after the price has gotten an initial push to the upside, and then a retracement, but that retracement is directly into the major support zone between the Fibonacci golden pocket and the 786, and now we expect more push to the upside. We have so far gotten a little bit of push to the upside. All right, so things are actually looking pretty good on these high time frames for more push to the upside. All right, come down to our daily time frame. Look at this. We are struggling to print a top here. Momentum continuing to get higher. Come to our 4-hour time frame. Even on our 4-hour time frame, guys, you know, we had some bear div here, but then we got a nice bottom. We got a big pump over the weekend. We have some really nice bullish divergences right down here on the 4-hour time frame, getting higher over time. Things are looking pretty good here for another push to the upside. All right, on these high and medium term time frames, I have to say, I'm still leaning more bullish than bearish here. I know people say we're going to dump, but in my opinion, a dump that we get might not be a catastrophic dump. All right, but we're going to discuss the different possibilities today because I am still long from the long right here, the trade setup given in the Casper crew, and I'm still holding it for higher prices. So what has happened here is this, right? We have come and we've gotten a few rejections. Rejection number one happened from here. The high to the low. Basically, coming right up to the golden pocket, the 786, and we take a look at this. Value area high of the range, but that's not the level I'm really looking at. What is the level I'm really looking at here? It was this, all right? It was this. We had a daily order block right here going back to the middle of June 9th, 2025. We have gotten a rejection from this level here, and then locally, if we pull our fib from the high to the low, we are finding resistance now at the local Fibonacci golden pocket 786. So yes, we're at some resistance here. We really need to pump through here if we want to see a breakout and a higher high. We need to hold basically above 110,000. But there is some good signs of strength here on the weekly. If we're going to look at the volume profile of the last 8 months, look at this. Last week, we confirmed not only the green dot, but we confirmed the blue candle above, a strong close actually, above $108,000. $108,000, why is this so key? As long as we're holding above $108,000, this is showing us that the market does want to trade Bitcoin at higher prices. Because this here is our fair value zone between the price of $90,000 and $108,000. Whenever the price of Bitcoin comes outside the fair value zone, you expect a correction back into the fair value zone, like what happened right here. Like what happened right here. Like what tried to happen right here, but found support and has now closed 2 weekly candles above the level. Okay? So there are some signs of strength here, even though volatility is low. So with this being the context of the high time frames are looking bullish, we've seen a sign of strength with our weekly close. Now we can analyze our local range here and ask, okay, what is possible? What should we be looking for as traders? Well, the obvious level right now, I'd say, is going to be this. We take a trend line, we connect these highs. We basically have lots of liquidity, lots of stop losses above these levels. So that means if we see the price coming above 110,000 and getting a back test, this is actually, in my opinion, a place to look for a long of a breakout. You get the breakout of this green line. This is about 110.5. And then if you get any kind of a back test, this now gives us a potential setup to shoot for that next level of resistance. Is going to be between $115,000 and $117,000. All right. It's a hypothetical trade setup. The breakout of this range with a breakout and a back test of around $110,000, because 110, that was our resistance once, twice, 3, 4 times. So that means one of two things is going to happen here. Either we get a stop hunt where we pump up, we take all the liquidity, stop everybody out and reverse it, or that doesn't happen, we get the breakout, they try to reverse it, but as soon as we see it reclaiming that level, that's actually our trigger to get in, and our stop loss goes below wherever they try to push it down to, right? So that is one scenario that we do need to be aware of. Another scenario is a pump and dump scenario, right? Look at how beautifully we came down to test the point of control at 105,000, and now we've made a higher high. When we zoom in here on these lower time frames, a few interesting things we see. Thing number one is actually this. Over the weekend, what did we leave behind here? Well, basically, we left behind all these like lows, right? We left behind all these lows over the weekend, and we even have this right here. If we pull our fib low to high, we also have just below that the Fibonacci golden pocket. So something else to always be aware of on a Monday, false move Monday, is a move down to basically take out all the weekend liquidity, and then coming back up into the range where we do this again for the rest of Monday, because that's how Mondays are. Or New York opens, pump up, reverse it back down, we come and back into the range, or even something like this, right? Given the fact that's a Monday, you always want to be looking for those flush out moves, right? And in my opinion right now, the two flush out moves would be something like this, and then something like this, and then end up back in the range, right? If we're going to be looking for trades today, I would say we're generally going to be looking for a stop hunt of the highs to come back into the range, and then a hunt of the lows, and it could happen in any order, and come back into the range. I mean, really, these two general ideas here are the two major trades that I would be looking for. Just coming to the chart, understanding that, you know, we just are coming out of a weekend. We have lots of liquidity to the upside that can be taken on a Monday, a false move Monday, and we have also lots of liquidity from the weekend on the downside that could also be taken. All right, so that's kind of like the local stuff I'd be interested in. Of course, there's a lot of different situations that could happen, and I'll be going over my exact specific trading plan in the Casper Crew VIP New York Open live stream this morning later after this stream. But when we zoom out and we're not talking about local stuff anymore, then we're back into our big range, which goes back to about the 8th of May. If we're going to lose 108 and we're not going to simply get a fake out like this, right? Because remember, this in and of itself, we could be forming like a triangle here, right? Take that liquidity, come back up into the range, whatever. If we're going to actually lose and get especially a daily close below $108,000, remember $108,000 is the most important level of the summer, then the chances are highest that we make our way back down to the bottom of this more macro range, which is going to be around 102,000. The reason being, if we're looking at this as our fair value zone, we understand that if the price comes above the fair value zone and then comes back in, then probabilities are highest we make our way back down to the bottom of this range. Now, so far, we haven't really even changed like market structure yet, right? If we make a lower low, then that's an official change of structure, right? So far, we have our low, our high, our higher low, and we don't know what's going to happen here yet, right? So we do need to be aware of coming back down to 102,000 for a few reasons. Number one is because of the fair value zone. Number two is because we have this trend line here, where we have stop losses below 105, we have stop losses below 104, and then we have literally no support on this drop down. Right? We have literally no support. We have no volume support. We spent no time here. We could easily fill that and then come down to our $1,000 or $2,000 zone, where we could also be looking for another long trade, right? Because when it comes to trading, we want to look for places to identify what is low and what is high so we could buy low and sell high. Come down to the value area low of the range here. We got ourselves a golden pocket, a 786, the value area low. This is an area of historic support where literally since the beginning of May, every time we come down here, we find some kind of support. And if we're going to maintain our bullish bias based on the weekly time frame, then when you come down to the bottom of the sideways range, that's where you want to be looking for a long trade, just coming back down to the bottom of the range, and then getting the breakout. Right? Also, we could look at this as a good old-fashioned inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? We had our support base formed, we dipped below it, we came back above it, we're come back for the retest, and then boom, off to the races, baby. Off to the races. Let's take a quick look at our lower time frame market ciphers. You know, I do have to say this. Things do look a bit ambiguous, all right? They do look a bit ambiguous. Just like that picture of me when I was in college getting my degree in trans, non-carbon, binary emission gender studies. A little bit ambiguous, you know? I'd go out places and people would wonder, like, what do you think, male, female? They'd have to wait and see what bathroom I was going to go into. Right now, I think we need to wait and see what bathroom Bitcoin's going to go into. And for me, the way we're going to determine the gender of the asset is really just by this local range we got right here. If we lose 108, then I'd say the week will probably be a little bit more bearish and bullish. If we hold 108, I'll be looking for that breakout. I'll be looking for that breakout, $115,000 to $117,000. And in general, here's the thing. If we do have a bullish summer, we have to acknowledge that it is an anomaly. It is an anomaly. An anomaly. An anomaly. An anomaly. An anomaly. It's an anomaly. The reason why it's an anomaly is because, you know, historically speaking, the summers are sideways and down. All right, they're sideways and down. All right, we go to, wow, this is the 2 month. We just go to the week. But let's look at the last few years of these summers. We basically don't ever get out of the range until September. Right, we bottom out in August, and then we pump in September. That happened in 2022. I'm sorry, 2023, 2024, and then this is our 2025 range. 2022 summer was right here. Right, so it was basically sideways and down. And then 2021 summer was right here. All right, it was basically sideways and down. And then even in the bull run, 2020 summer, I guess you could say that we had a bullish, this will go from June to August. All right, it was bullish from June to August, but in general, it wasn't really, it wasn't anything like what we saw in the fall, right? We did have a July where we saw in those few weeks actually a 33% pump here. But this was also at a different point in the cycle. This was right after that halving, pretty much. So yeah, for the most part, these summers, even look at this, 2019 summer, right? I'm sorry, 2018 summer, 2019 summer, 2020 summer. I mean, pretty much these summers, they are not characterized by big pumps. The big pumps happen after the summer, right? They happen after the summer. And if we're in a bear market, you know, the big pump doesn't happen. But if we're in a bull market, the big pump happens after the summer. So we understand that the overall pattern is that the summer is sideways and down. And so as we're looking at these things play out, we need to keep that in the back of our minds. The reason is because we don't want to position ourselves in a way that's going to hurt us when it comes to protecting our capital, which is why we need to draw such clear lines in the sand and say, okay, like, it looks bullish, we can make a bullish case, but we have our value area high, which is the $108,000 zone. We don't want to be spending a lot of time under this level. If we are, we cannot expect more upside, right? Then we need to be looking for other areas in the range, like 97K for a potential bounce, or coming back down to the high 80s for a potential bounce. Or if we follow the pattern of the last 3 years, we come all the way back down to the actual bottom of the range for that bounce, right? Now I know this freaks people out, but you know, we look at what happened last July. We were right here, all right? And things were absolutely looking bullish last July. We had even taken the liquidity from the bottom of the range. We were getting a pump. Things were looking bullish. But we ended up getting another move all the way back down to the bottom of the range, right? We can come back to 2023. Things were looking pretty dang bullish, right? In July, we were at the top of the range. We had made a higher high, just like now. Things were looking bullish here. But then what happened? We get this big move down. We don't bottom out until August, and then we get our big pump in the fall, right? So we need to be watching. We cannot be letting the emotions get a hold of us. Am I bullish? Yes. If we're going to see that new all-time high, which I believe we are, if it doesn't happen soon, these three levels are the places where that big swing long trade is going to happen from, right? One of these three. And we need to be looking at the chart, obviously, to determine which one we're going to take. You can't just long a level blindly. You need to have a reason to take a trade, right? Like, that's the thing about trading, if-then scenarios. You got yourself a plan, but you want to see your confirmations before you take the trade. If you see your confirmations, then you take the trade, then you lock in the profits, right? If you see what you're looking for on the chart, then when it comes there, you got to have your criteria set up for in advance, right? If you don't see what you're looking for, don't take the trade, right? So one of these three levels that we have in the chart, if the pattern is going to continue of a sideways and down summer, is going to be where we find our big support, which will give us our fall pump to the all-time high, all right? And I'm not a Bitcoin bear in any way, shape, or form, but obviously if I had to choose, if Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin's going to $130,000, a target that a lot of people have, right? If I had to choose what's going to happen, I would obviously rather have this happen than just to pump from here. Why? Well, because it would actually allow me to position myself in a better place to make more money, all right? Because right now I'm about $200,000 long on Bitcoin. I would have an opportunity potentially to get into a much bigger long position coming down to these lows. Let me tell you, I'm obviously going to be very interested in building a long position down in this area for a potential 70% pump, as opposed to right now, if we hit $130,000, we're talking a 20% pump, talking more than 3 times of a percentage move. But, you know, people don't like to hear that because I guess it's scary, or people buy the top or whatever. But really, if we're coming to this chart as a trader, we should be interested in the best trades possible, all right? And if we're going to take the pattern of the last 3 summers, what was the best trade of the last 3 summers? Well, it was coming back down to the bottom of the range in August, all right? I literally made 6 figures on this move here, okay? In fact, this was the best trade of my life. Right here in 2024, was it? Or 2000? I don't know. Actually, a lot of these trades were some of the best trades of my life here. It might have been the 2023 one. I don't know. All I know is that I was definitely long from here, and I was definitely long from here. 2023. I remember that breakout, man. I remember that breakout. So I forget which trade made me 6 figures. I think it was this one here in 2024. I don't think it was this one in 2023. I think in 2023 I kept adding to the trade. I ended up getting stopped out here, but I took another long when we reclaimed 40K. Took it up to here. This trade down here, August 5th, 2024. Yeah, this was probably the best trade I ever took in my life, because I longed this wick down here because it was a support resistance flip of this level. Not only did I long the wick, but I told my community during the live stream, I've just taken a long from this level. So it wasn't a secret long, it was a public long. Told the VIP community during the stream, I'm long from here. So it was such a key level, that support resistance flip. And so, you know, I'm looking for something similar. I have a lot of good emotions about that support resistance flip. You know, if we come down to that area again, I'm gonna be looking for that. Bam! You know, boom! Bam, baby, boom, kaboom. Bam, boom, boom, ba boom, boom, ba bam, bam. Biddy beam, boom, bam, boom, beat beam, biddy boom, bam, biddy bam, bam, boom, dibby bam, bam, boom. Do I like soccer? You mean football? You mean football? Do we have a VIP live? Yeah! Of course. Yeah, I was with my wife on a trip in 2024 when this happened here. Yeah, when we got this move. When we got this move, I was actually with my wife on a trip. Yeah. Yeah, we rented an RV, and we just went on a little trip with the kids and everything. I love RVs. I love motorhomes. You know, I used to be in a band, so I used to live in one of those. And there's something very nice about having your home wherever you go. If you want to travel with your family, and you don't want to stop at hotels. Hotels are so dang annoying, especially if you have kids. You got to unload all the crap. Get all the kids' bed stuff, their blankies, and this and that. Bring all the food in for the kids. By the time you get to bed, it's been like 3 hours. As opposed to just having a motorhome, you just pull off in a dang truck stop and go to sleep, right? Everyone's got their beds, everyone's got their stuff. You got your fridge, you got your bathroom to poo in. But yeah, I remember that. There were a few times in my life where I felt like a real traitor because I was like living a nomadic lifestyle. One was during this pump here, because I was just in an RV making like tens of thousands of dollars. The second one was, I guess it was just recently when I went to Cuba. I didn't really go to Cuba, but I said I went to Cuba, and I was like trading literally like on the beach under palm trees. I'm like trading, making money. Felt like a real trader, you know? The crypto lifestyle that everyone seeks after. The crypto lifestyle that everyone seeks after. How much margin did I put on my six-figure trade? Not very much, Dread Mining. Not very much, bro. That's the thing, you know, about trading the range. I think I probably started out with like a $300,000 position, probably like 20-something X leverage, all right? So a few thousand, and yeah, when you're trading the bottom of the range, and you let those runners run, obviously I added to the trade along the way up. So the way I like to do it is, if I take a swing trade from here, once we break out of the range, I'm going to add to that trade, right? Once we break out of the range, I'll add to it, put my entry here, whatever, you know? So I add to the trade along the way up. I always add to the trade before you take profits. So it's not like I opened it and held all the way up to here. I took partials and added along the way. That's the best way to do it, really, because if you're in a swing from here and the trend is your friend, then once you break out of the range, you know, if your entry now is here, that's a pretty safe entry, right? If we come back for a retest or even a little bit of a liquidity grab, you're probably still going to be safe if we just take out these guys, right? But yeah, that's the thing. You don't have to risk a lot of money. You don't have to risk a lot of money if your TA is on point, right? And look, speaking of this, guys, right now, check out Klein Funding. I've got a link in the description for 25% discount and 15% discount on this crypto prop firm that trades on Bitget. Look, for 41 bucks, you can get a $6,000 funded account if you pass the challenge. If you get the instant pro accounts, no challenge needed, no consistency rules with your drawdown, and you get a 15% discount. All right, so you could pay like about $1,000, give or take, for a $50,000 account with a 70% profit split. Of course, it's all customizable, right? So it gets cheaper, more expensive based on your profit split here. You could customize a plan, right? You could customize your plan. Again, this is pretty crazy. 25% off, 36 bucks for a $6,000 account. That's pretty cool, honestly. That's pretty dang cool. Now, there's a link in the description of the stream with the discount coupons right here. Jason25 to get 25% off standard accounts. Jason15 to get 15% off all instant funding accounts. Alright? Also, I gotta shout out WEEX again, because WEEX is literally giving the best deal right now. Sign up and you get a $100 bonus. You don't even have to deposit. Then you get 0% limit order, 0.01%, 0.02% market order, and a 20% deposit bonus. Alright? So that's crazy, right? You put $2,000 on to trade, you literally end up trading with $2,500. Lowest fees on a centralized exchange. It's pretty legit. Link in the description. Also, I gotta shout out BLOFIN. Also doing 20% cash back and low fees. I gotta shout out ANTARCTIC. Lowest fees, period. Alright, 0.015%, even lower than WEEX. And I gotta shout out to Jason Casper, VIP Discord, the Casper crew, jasoncaspertrading.com, where we give the dang setups in advance. 3 instructors, multiple live streams every single day with the good old TA and trade setups, alright? We got some super chats. Shout out to Florida J. He says, yo, I know you don't meme coin that much, but check AP on ETH out. America Party. Very bullish narrative. Alright, let's check it out. I'm not a meme coin guy, but if you say so, man. Wow, this thing's pumping like crazy. Make sure to like the stream, guys. Got over 1,000 watchers, 300 likes. See if we can't get the likes up to the watchers. Let's see how much is pumped already. Just a meager 300,000%. Just a meager 300,000%. Alright, let's see. I wish we had more data to look at the Cipher. But, I'll have to look into this a little bit more on the fundamental side. But, right now, I'd have to say this, like, just based on this, if this thing's gonna go full send, would love to see a move down to basically retest this and take out all this, right? Ascending channel, break down, come down to that support resistance flip, and let's see where the Fibonacci Gerudun Puppet comes. Yeah, right there. Yeah, I would definitely. Yeah, maybe I'll FOMO into that. I don't think I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna. Maybe I will. You know what? Maybe I will. Because of your super chat. I'll put your super chat plus another $5,000 into this. What the heck? What the heck? That would be a great place to get in. Right there, which even just to the... That's a 350% move to the upside, even if we just hit that high, and if we keep on pumping, you know, we could see just thousands of percent. Alright? That's pretty interesting. If you're looking for a potential meme coin. Alright? CDW, that like button says Lion Rune. We got Andy, Bitcoin Census, in the house. What is going on? He says he's here for the British accent, my lord. Andy, I hope I don't disappoint you with my awful British accent. I'm probably not in the right mindset. I've got to pretend I'm Andy from Bitcoin Census, talking about the Elliott waves. Or I've got to really close my eyes, pretend I'm in Dubai, hoping someday to get a country home. Alright, Meffer says we're going lower. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Andy from Bitcoin Census, go subscribe. One of the best in the game, you know? Joe Custer says if he was carnivore diet, he wouldn't get sunburned. Who are you talking about? I look sunburned? Are you serious? You know what it is? I'm hot, bro. I'm literally hot. I'm in a closed room with no air conditioning in the humidity summer, with a weighted vest, walking 3.6 miles per hour on a treadmill after I just did heavy squats, heavy Romanian deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats, calf raises. You know, makes you hot. But I don't actually get sunburnt. The last time I had sunburn was 2020. and I spend hours a day in the sun, literally hours a day. Like yesterday, I was in the sun from about 10 o'clock in the morning until 2 in the afternoon in the full sun with no shirt, no sunscreen. And then I went back out like 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., same deal, no shirt, no sunscreen, don't get burnt. I love the sun, I feel great. In fact, my son this morning, before I came up to stream, he was like, how come you like the sun so much? And I said, because I still believe, this is my current belief, that the sun's good for you. And that God didn't put this dangerous thing up there in the sky that's gonna kill you. Right? I love me some sunshine, man. Love it. Here's the thing, for all y'all white folks out there. Cause look, when I was a kid, I would burn like crazy. And I have very pale skin, like I'm pretty white. Alright, look at my eyes. They're pretty blue. I'm an anomaly in my family because I do have Cuban genes, right? And I'm the only one in my family that's this light. I don't know. Maybe they mixed me up at the hospital. I don't know. Right? But I'll tell you this. You can develop the ability to stay in the sun. Right? If you stay in the sun. It's just like building muscle, right? It's just like building muscle. You go to the gym one time, do a bunch of bicep curls, the next day, oh, you're so sore, you can't even move your arm, right? But guess what? You start working out consistently, you do heavy bicep curls the next day, you can't even tell you worked out, right? It's the same with the sun. You can build up your ability to be out in the sun. But I do have to say, be careful with it because that's why I haven't gotten sunburned since 2020. I built up my tolerance to the sun. And I'm out there working the farm. But I have to say this. If you do this, your skin will get permanently darker. And I've noticed this. The winters are going to suck more for you. If you're not used to a lot of sun, your body gets that vitamin D real quick. But if you all of a sudden have darker skin and you spend more time in the sun, it's almost as if your body like doesn't soak up as much vitamin D. And then the winter, you got to be real intentional about getting sunlight. Otherwise, you're going to end up feeling pretty down in the dumps. All right, so just a warning to y'all white folks trying to get a little bit more black like your boy. I mean, look at how dark my skin is, right? You could tell it's literally black. All right, especially compared to my other arm that gets no sun. This arm gets no sun. This arm gets sun. Look at the difference in color. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sunshine feels good, right? Sunshine feels good. I do need some iced coffee. Alright, so Byron wants to know where to buy American Party. That's a good question. Where do you buy it, Florida Jay? Where are you going to get some of this American Party? We need some American Party up in here. Shout out to Valerie Venezuela. God bless you, Valerie. Thank you so much for being here. Drink milk. I'm a huge fan of dairy. In fact, I think probably percentage of my diet, I get more protein from dairy than anything else. The sun made a tattoo on my arm. LOL. American Party was created by an immigrant. Interesting. Well, that's pretty American, since all Americans are immigrants. Unless you're legitimately, like, Native American. Still, that's pretty dang American, you know? Bulgarian split squats made your knees bulletproof. I love Bulgarian split squats, man. I love them, love them, love them, love them. I do them in the Smith machine. I do them with dumbbells. Shout out to the Gold Sniper. He says, every time I hear about you work out, I get a super energy. I can go into the rack and lift everything. That's what's up, man. Get to the rack. Get into the rack. Alright, you can get it on Binance. Kefir is king. I'm more of a yogurt guy myself, honestly. I love yogurt, but I tolerate dairy very well. Like, some people eat dairy and they got the farts, right? I could eat like a whole gallon of Greek yogurt, or like just some normal yogurt that's not Greek from the farm, and I'm fine. I feel great on it, honestly. I'm feeling good on it. God bless Script Shemaine G. God bless you, bro. May the Lord Jesus bless you, and may He reveal Himself to all of us more and more each and every day. A raw milk infused with Tren enjoyer. Yeah. Can't go wrong with the raw milk infused with Tren. You know? Can't go wrong. Yeah, shout out to Radu. I'm assuming you're Romanian, Radu. Because the only Radus I know are from Romania. Some Romanian deadlifts up in here too, you know? But yeah, if we lose 108.2, we're going down, 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 baby. Alright guys, I'm going to head out because we got a VIP stream in the Casper crew in a few minutes. So we're going to continue over there, do our low time frame analysis trading plan. God bless you all in Jesus' name, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.